Welcome to Allie You, the business success and lifestyle show. Today we're going to talk about all those no's that you're getting when you're trying to get sales. Let's turn those no's into yeses right here on Allie You. I'm so glad you're here today on Allie You. My name is Allison Maslan. My friends call me Allie. I am a business growth mentor, a serial entrepreneur, and today we're going to talk about turning those no's into yeses. But first I want to share with you why I do this show, Allie You, and why you, the business owner, is so important to me. Because you see, I've been a business owner pretty much all my life, over 30 years, and I know the power that business has. It can change the world. It can save people's lives, right? It can bring people together. It can bond communities. And most of the big innovations that are happening for the biggest world problems come from business owners just like you. So my mission, my purpose is helping you to grow, to have a better life, to elevate yourself. And that's my way of making that dent in the universe. So today we're going to talk about how to turn no's into yeses. So if you're a business owner or you've tried to sell anything, any product or service, or hey, even trying to convince your spouse to do something, right? You are selling. And some people in business, you know, you get in business because you're passionate about something, you're excited about it, and then then you realize, like, wait a minute, I've got to get customers, I've got to bring in income, because if you don't do that, you can't run a business. You can't grow a business. You can't take care of your employees, and you know, it's just not going to work, right? You got to create profits. And so you get out there and you're trying to sell, and you're out talking to people, and you're doing all the right things, but the responses that you're getting are not ideal, right? You're getting a lot of no's. And what happens is that in general, if you're not comfortable with that and you don't know how to handle that no, you have lost a sale. And this could be somebody that would be a great customer. This is somebody that you could really help. And think about it this way. If you truly feel that you have the best product or service out there, why wouldn't you want to get it in everybody's hands that needs it, right? So selling is super important, right? That's how we get our wares out into the marketplace. So when people say no, what are you doing? Are you saying, oh, okay, thanks, right? I mean, that's the tendency to do it, because you're not prepared for those objections. But the thing is that when people say no, it doesn't always mean no when it comes to business. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But first of all, you know, when people are asking you questions, for instance, how much is it? How much time does it take? You know, what is your background? How does this work? How is your product or service better than the competition? Or what are you doing differently, right? If they're asking those questions, this is a good thing. This means that they're interested. But what tends to happen with business owners is that when you get those questions, it's like all of a sudden you know, your fear kicks in, and you just like, you get paralyzed. And it's kind of like Ralph Cramden. I know I'm kind of dating myself. This is from the Honeymooners, and he would just be like, humna, 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 humna. He didn't know what to say. So that's not going to serve you. And if you're prepared and you know how to handle those questions, or you know how to handle objections, that means when they say no, you can turn a no or, a very curious but tentative prospect into a sale. Okay? And, before I get into how to handle that, I want to ask you, when you are meeting with a prospect and it's time to follow up, how often are you following up with that potential customer? How many times are you calling them, reaching out? And I don't mean just hiding behind email. There's a lot of ways to reach out to a customer. You could meet them in person. You don't want to stalk them, but you can find out, events that they go to and connect with them there. You can text, you can video text. Of course, I'm a big believer in picking up the phone. And why am I a big believer? Because not a lot of people are doing it, number one. Number two, you can weed through days and days of email and just getting right on the phone. And when you're on the phone with someone, a decision has to be made. Okay? Like, you're really standing up and you're putting yourself out there. And you're able to deal with objections in the moment. So I had a client tell me when she first started working with me, this was a few years ago, and she has a marketing company, and she helps people do market research. And she had done this work for Disney, and just super, super talented. So when she went on her own, she thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be a snap transition. I know I'm just going to be able to kill it in this business. So she would do these big proposals, and then she would just hit send and sort of wait by the email. And when she told me this, and she couldn't understand why she wasn't getting a response. And I said, you never send a proposal over email like that, where you can't be there to handle the objections. So you want to set yourself up so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Like, you're working really hard on this proposal. You know you can help this client. But if they get the proposal over email or even in snail mail or however you're sending it, and you're not there to talk them through it, you don't know the stuff that's going on in their head. You don't know the past experience. You don't know the person that's sitting next to them telling them, why are you doing that? And so you are really setting yourself up to lose a great opportunity, and I don't want to see that happen. So one of the things that you want to do in that case, especially for bigger sales, and I'm talking more like B2B, okay, when you need to be in front of somebody. I'm not talking about something that you're necessarily selling online. That's a whole other conversation. What you want to do is set the follow-up appointment and send them the proposal as you are on the phone with them. Great, Dan, I'm so glad I'm connecting with you. Okay, I'm sending over right now the proposal. Let's look at that online together. Or you could get on some technology like Zoom, something or Join Me, where you can show your screen. But that way, when they have questions, you're able to answer them right on the spot. You see, if you can take away their objections, you have a sale. Isn't that cool? So it's like, let's strategize on how we can take away the objections of your potential clients. You could have thousands and thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands or even millions, depending on what kind of business that you're in, of money that is slipping through the cracks that's right there from people that you let get away, that you could help and make a difference for them in a big way. Now, not all is lost. You can still reach out to these people, even if it's been a year, because my guess is if they didn't get help in what they're the problem they had. It's probably worse by now, and they need you. Or they tried somebody else maybe, and it didn't work. So don't give up on them. All right, so think about, first of all, what are the main objections that people have when they buy from you? So I have this really nifty worksheet, and I'm actually going to give this to you at the end of the show. So stay on, and I'm going to give you the link for this, because you can use this and have this up by your computer when you're on the phone, or you can be memorizing and know how to deal with those objections on the spot. Because ideally, if someone asks you, what's the price or whatever the issue is, you can, it just flows out of you and in a confident way, right? And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So I'm gonna give you this chart in just a second here. All right. So think about what are the main objections, and that's what I've got here, listing out what's your main objections. So let's say that the objections that people have when they want to work with you is, let's say, number one, money, okay? Another one might be time. Do I have the time to do this right now? How much time is this going to take? 3, is this the right time in my life, right? I'm going through a remodel of my house. I'm going to have a baby. I'm going through divorce, whatever that is. Is this the right time? I worked with an electrician in the past, and it was a disaster. Like, none of the lights worked. It cost a fortune. And so I'm really, wary of, working with an electrician. Again, this could apply to any type of business, any type of industry. All right. So I'm just going to use those from now. So we've got time, we've got money, we've got the phase in your life, and past experiences that were not positive. Okay. So what you would do is you'd write down all the objections that you get, so that you're prepared and you're not going to freeze up when they ask you these questions and you lose a sale. All right. So the more prepared you are, the more successful that you're going to be. And after a while, it just becomes natural. It's not like you're reading something. You're just, speaking from your heart. Now, so let's say the first objection, money. Okay. Now, when someone has an objection and it's money, generally money is not the issue. It's something else, right? Let's say that they are considering buying a service from you. So I'll give you an example, because this is something I'm considering buying right now. And that is a food delivery service for dinners, because I'm working late and I just, as my clients and friends know, I am no Betty Crocker, right? And so if I don't have healthy food waiting at home, I'm going to go right for the junk. So I'm thinking now, all right, so, what's the company that I want to go with, and, and do I want to spend the money? But the real thing I'm asking myself is, am I going to eat these meals? Are they really going to sit in the refrigerator, and I'm going to pull them out and cook them? Is my husband going to enjoy these meals too? Right? There's really other things going on, but we use the excuse that it's the money, but it's really not the money, right? So let's say somebody wants to coach with me or my team, because we run a mastermind and private coaching program called Pinnacle Global Network. And if somebody is, they have a business and they want to get it to the next level, you really have to invest in yourself and get the support, right? Because I've had a coach for years and years and years, and I've been in business over 30 years. So I've been investing in myself since day one. But if for someone that has not done that before and they don't really know, or maybe they had a bad experience in the past, they might think, wow, I'm afraid to spend the money. But so I'm just giving you some different scenarios, right? So how would you answer that if someone said that to you? Well, you might say to them something like, well, what is it going to cost you by not taking action? How much money are you losing by not moving forward? How many revenue opportunities are you losing if you are selling your product or service? If your coach teaches you how to package that, create your own signature program, and ask for really what you're truly worth, reach out to a different demographic, learn how to market them, learn how to speak to them in a way that they will hear you. All the things that your coach would help you do. By not doing that and you're just sort of waiting, you're losing money. So it's more those missed opportunities. So let's add that up. How much do you feel that you could make from your product or service? And once you have the support, how much do you feel that you could sell? Do you see what I'm saying? And you make it tangible for people. Or you might say something like, what are your big goals? Where do you want to be in a year? I mean, what would make you super excited in your business a year from now? If you were going to look back, what would make you ecstatic that you achieved? How would that accomplishment feel to you inside, right? And if you achieved that, what would that be worth to you? Okay? So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach that. Because if people allow money to be the block, then really it's fear that's holding them back, and they're not going to move forward in their life. And the other question is, what if you got to the end of the year and you didn't achieve those things, and it's a year from now, or 2 years, or 5 years, and you're dealing with the same issue? How old do you want to be before you create those dreams in your life, right? So it's like, when you put it that way, then it makes sense, because hey, we're here to grow and be successful in our lives, right? So that's one way of dealing with objection. That's money. And of course you have to tie this into whatever your business is. It could be that you have a construction company, and I'm going to use this as an example because I have a client that does this. They build these massive refrigerators for like grocery stores and so forth. And if somebody is trying to decide to work with them over somebody else, they could go to the other person and save money, yes, but how much is it going to cost you when you get all of these calls because something is broken, or it didn't, keep the food cold enough, and you had to throw all the food out, things like that. So you just need to look at what the value is beyond this investment for them. Okay, and so again, it could be anything. It could be the beauty industry. It could be the tire industry. It could be, the movie industry. It could be if you're an esthetician. It could be in the financial industry, real estate. Doesn't matter. It's the same. You just have to look at what's beyond that and what is it costing them for not taking action. All right, let's talk about, again, this is the chart. I'm going to go ahead and give you the URL now so that you can have this, because it's actually yesworksheet.com. You're going to go to yesworksheet, Y-E-S, yes, right? Because we want to get them to a yes, yesworksheet.com. Super, super simple. You're going to write down those objections, and then you're going to write down the answer that you're going to give. So let's talk about what would be how would you deal with an objection of time? Okay, so if it's time, like, is it going to take too much time? Then you need to find a way to show them that it's actually going to save them time, if that's what it does. Don't lie. But so, for instance, in the mastermind with business owners, we have a mastermind call with your coach and also with a group of business owners from all over the country that meet every couple weeks. And so you might think, well, gosh, I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. But you see that what I would say to someone that said that to me was, how much time does this take? I don't know. I barely have time right now in my life. How can I add in this extra support that you're offering? Sounds great, but I don't really have time. Well, I would say to that one call is going to save you hours of time. Because how much time do you spend wasting time doing things that aren't working, beating your head against the wall, spinning in circles, running on the treadmill, right? How much time is going down the drain? Did you know that if we could find 2 extra hours in your day, every day, that you would get an extra month in your year? What could you do with an entire month? Man, I could think of a lot of things to do with an extra month. I don't know about you. Right? So it's all a matter of perspective. And then the other one I talked about, is this the right time in my life, right? Well, you know what? There's always going to be something going on in your life, right? I'm answering the way you might answer. So you want to have compassion first. So when they say to you, well, I'm really worried about the money, or I don't know if this is the right time, you'd say, yes, I totally get that, and I totally get your concern, and I respect that. And I like the fact that you're really looking in and thinking this through. And here's what, would you like to hear my answer to that, right? So you're not being judgmental, you're not being critical at all. You're hearing them, and then you're sharing, you're giving an answer that's a pathway beyond that objection. So if they say something like, well, gosh, I really want to do this, but, we're just closing on our house, or, we're about to have a baby, or, I've just gone through a divorce. I mean, the truth is there's always something going on in life. There's always something going on in life. We just remodeled our house. I went through a time when my mom wasn't well. My brother just moved out of the country. I mean, there's always something that's going to be going on in your life. And that's life, right? We want it that way because, otherwise, what would we do with ourselves? We would be bored. But life is always changing and moving, and that's why you need this now. You see where I'm going with this? So what we want is we want you to be prepared. And if you're prepared, the objections are easy. I can't tell you how many people over the years had said no to me, and I said, okay, so tell me where you're at. What's going on in your head so I understand what you're feeling. So if you don't know what the objections are, how can you answer? Right? I had one say to me one time, I'm just really overwhelmed. Same thing. I think it was a remodel they were doing, and am I going to have time for this? And I explained to her that no, this doesn't take more time. We're going to meet you where you're at, and this is all customized to you. And so when she realized that, she's like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And so we, have been able to really help her with her business. She's got a promotional products company that's totally taken off. And if I had not helped her overcome that objection, she would not have had all these changes in her life that have impacted her, her children, and her relationship. You see, so it's important that you help people, because if you let people quit on themselves or stop with those objections, you're allowing them to stay stuck, and we don't want that. All right, so remember, you can go to yesworksheet.com, okay? Yesworksheet.com. You'll get this nifty worksheet that I put together for you, and then you'll have that right in front of you. Super, super easy. And I want you to go out and make tons of sales, grow your business, and help a lot of people. Now, we air this show live every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And we show it right here. And we also, you can listen to this on iTunes. You can also listen to this on Stitcher. So if you're in your car or if you're running on the treadmill and you can't watch, don't miss an episode of Allie and You. We will meet you where you're at. See, I just handled an objection. All right, everybody, get out there, elevate yourself because you are worth it. Bye.